How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the FFG live video for Twilight Imperium 4th edition. It's kind of a redo video because my first video was messed up and wasn't able to find it on the DVR. But welcome back, and welcome to the expansion, people. This is the unboxing of the entire expansion. They're only going to be showing off certain parts of the expansion, so just to let everyone know that, yeah. This is the expansion unboxing brought to you by Dane and Evan Johnson.
That it contains, I guess I'll say,
they go through most of it. So we got Twilight Imperium's 4th edition expansion, the Prophecy of Kings, and this is an insane expansion from the looks of it. We're getting 7 new races throughout the expansion. There's insane new art, as you can tell. There's this race right here is called the Mahakt. They are like a terrorizing race throughout the entire galaxy, and they're basically turning the Ghost of Creus into a red crimson legionnaire. Just gonna skip ahead. Alright, so here's some more of the new race, which they will be explaining. Get to where the video was redone and shown better. Okay, there we go.
Frightening. Sorry, give us a moment as we get this frame.
Now,
so people can,
the Crimson Legionnaire is the Mahakt Infantry
yeah, so I guess
Unit
what would you say to people who are scared of how powerful these guys are?
Don't worry, everybody has lots of new toys.
Everyone
Okay,
has
awesome.
new toys, boys.
Awesome. Yeah, so...
Especially the Winnow.
Alright,
probably.
we'll talk more about other things later. So the other new faction that people have seen is Argent Flight.
Yeah.
So these two factions are
Argent
shown
Flight, they were
within
the ones
their
tasked with
website.
guarding,
There's articles on them,
guarding
and there's
gateway
articles on like tons of different discords
Yeah,
over
they
the
didn't
expansion
do so
already,
hot
so
there. It's
they're not
probably not
really
their
going
fault,
to be
but,
talking fully about them.
And in
But we can skip
Okay.
ahead.
my favorite has been like Gnome writing phrases to who these guys are.
This is one of the new
My
ones.
favorite has been like Gnome riding a pit bull or Gnome riding a jaguar. These are
It's kind of a gnome riding a jaguar.
these are the Nazraka Alliance. So the Nazraka Alliance is they're two distinct species. They're always paired together. Their story is kind of that they were a little bit of the galactic underdog.
So we get 7 new races, but
So
8 new
together,
species.
they kind of combined their strengths and also kind of
8-ish.
capitalized on this whole event to kind of harness some of the energy released by the Mahakt coming back.
They are the
and
exploring race.
Turn that around into some tech that they have that is kind of really powerful. Their spiel is basically 2 things. They are the exploration mech faction.
Nice. So
Yeah.
2 things that
Two
people
things
have
that
not
are-
seen yet. This
Yeah,
unboxing,
two things
but-
that have not been seen yet.
So their mechs, their ability, your mechs in the system roll 1 additional die during combat. When you explore a planet, distant suns, when you explore a planet that contains 1 or more of your mechs, you may draw 1 additional card, choose 1 to resolve, and discard the rest. And then fabrication, either purge 2 of your relic fragments of the same type to gain 1 relic, or purge 1 of your relic fragments to gain 1 command token. That's their 2 passive abilities or faction abilities. Empyrean and then underneath it is the Titans race. Alright, so that's all they really show from this race. Let me get to the Empyrean. Okay, they explain a lot more of the Empyrean
There's
up here.
not been a lot of talk about these. Not many of their components have popped into view, and I think looking at all the screenshots that have been, like, you can only really see like the tip of their head in like one of the things. But so they start with one of the new technology. Well, they all start with new technology, but the new technology that the Imperians start with is a pretty central one. They start with dark energy tap, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I should know the name of this. Which allows them to explore the frontier tokens straight out the bat. And the frontier tokens, people have surmised so far, are what allow players to explore the empty space, so not the planets. So Empyrean positioning themselves to start near empty space, they can actually get some like really cool stuff straight off the bat. And there's a lot of awesome stuff that can come out of the exploration deck as far as the frontier tokens go. There's some really neat things.
Yeah, and we'll show some of that later.
Yep, for sure.
Some people are speculating if that is a nebula home planet.
That is a nebula home planet, the Dark. Yes, that is correct.
So cool.
Their home system is the Dark, and yeah, they kind of exist outside of. They have coming. Got it.
Yeah.
A lot of like so it's revealed.
No.
I know.
Dane
sorry.
reveals the
Oh,
Titans a little
Really
bit,
good.
Did I just reveal the Titans?
which have
Dynamo is their flagship.
PDS from the look of it.
And it's
Their
after any
PS
player's unit
on the
in the system or an
Titans,
adjacent system uses
faction
sustained
sheet
damage, you may spend 2
had some
influence to
special
repair
stuff.
that unit. So they can actually kind of sell the ability to
Repair.
units, which is awesome. And they can use it on themselves, of course, but oftentimes people will
Insane.
ask it of the Empyrean, which is fun. And that's not the only thing that they ask for from the Empyrean, so let's talk about that. Go over their abilities real quick. Voidborn. Nebula do not affect your ship's movement, so they can move in and out of nebulas and through them unhindered, which is important since the Dark is a nebula. So then their first faction ability is
Easy
Ether
moving
Passage.
through
After a player
nebulas.
activates a system, you may allow that player to move their ships through systems that contain your ships. So this is a first. This is in TI. It's kind of like allowing people the ability to move through your stuff willingly. Typically you're stopped from being able to do that.
Right.
And the other thing they have is Dark Whispers, which is just they actually have additional promissory note. So they have 2 total promissory notes, and so Dark Whispers is just a reminder to take the second promissory note during setup, and we will go over the promissory note when we get
More
number player. Let's start with the sheet.
Yeah.
So the next part is the new
This
sheets,
should go opposite the
which show
command sheet,
that you have
like-
agent,
like
a
the
mech,
command sheet, it's
a
double-sided, so you
commander,
kinda put it on
and
the
a
left or right.
hero.
It's also got
You start with agents
a
unlocked.
continuation of the quick reference. It was on the sheets.
Your
from
mechs
the core game, so it's
are
got
unlocked later on, I
some additional
believe.
information and
Skip a little bit.
and up during setup. So the community has
Skip and silent. Okay. So up here they show off a little bit more on different commanders. Alright, so we get Winu first. Alright, so we're getting some new commanders, heroes, agents, and mechs for every single faction. There's 24 factions now that they added 7 new factions from the expansion. And we started with the Winu here. This is the Winu agent, which is told by that little strip here. Agents are 1, 2 is the commander, and then 3 is the hero. Alright, back to the Winu's agent. When one or more of a player's units use reduction, you may exhaust this card to reduce the command cost of the produced units by 2. Basically what he said this was a super Sarween.
they weren't going to use it themselves. So then let's switch over to commander here. Yep. So during combat, apply +2 to the results of each of your unit's combat rolls in the Mechatol Rex system, in your home system, in each system that contains a legendary planet.
Nice.
So that's a
They
big
get
combat
3
boost
different
for
areas where they get
getting
+2.
and defending Mechatol Rex, but not just for getting and defending.
And
Mechatol
there
Rex.
is a
This also
new
applies to
word that is in all the cards that have the word, I guess. Yeah. It's called Purging, which is the hero has... Alright, so control Mechatol Rex or enter into a combat in Mechatol Rex is how you get this number 2, dude. But so the hero has a purge word on it, which means as soon as you use it, it's done for the entire game. And this is your hero. You get them after scoring 3 objectives. And there's the purge, this card, meaning put it back in the box, basically. So this action, perform the primary ability of any strategy card, then choose any number of other players. Those players may perform the secondary ability of that strategy card. Basically what Dane said about this card is that it is a double Imperial in one turn or one round, which is insane. Alright, so we get the Gate Warden.
Cycervis, the Gate Warden. To unlock Cycervis, you need to have units in 3 different systems that contain alpha or beta wormholes. And this is kind of a fun one. This is one you definitely want to unlock early, in my experience, or not at all, because it's kind of, you really want to go out of your way to get it right away because to make maximum use of it. But after your ships move, for each ship that has capacity and move through 1 or more wormholes, you may place 1 fighter from your reinforcements with that ship.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And so basically they generate...
It's basically you get free fighters for going through wormholes. Alright, so the next one we get, which was the hero from Hakan, which is also shown off on several of the different cards from normal gameplay. This one was ridiculous.
Featured in quite a few action cards, both from the core game and the expansion. But it's a pretty cool ability. Here we go.
When one or more of your
units use production, you may reduce the cost of each of your units to 0 during the use of this production. If you do, purge this card. So yes,
Money's for plebs.
Money's for plebs. That's right. The Hakan.
Yeah, so basically with this ability, you get free units. So basically what they were saying in the chat during this time for Twitch was free War Suns. 2 free War Suns and your flagship. So with this one, at the end of a player's turn, you may exhaust this card to allow that player to explore one of their planets. You basically can sell this ability. This is their commander. After you gain control of a planet that was controlled by another player, you may explore that planet, which is pretty good. And then this is their hero. Gain 1 relic and perform the secondary ability of up to 2 unreadied or unchosen strategy cards, meaning that you don't need the strategy card to be picked during that turn to do it. During this action, spend command tokens from your reinforcements instead of your strategy pool, meaning you're spending free command tokens that didn't cost anything during this action. Oof. and then they showed off the Jolnar. For each non-unit upgrade tech you own, you may replace that tech with any technology of the same color from the deck. Which is sick. That is sickening. I think they show off like one more. Yeah, they show off Necro. You may exhaust this card to choose a player. That player may discard one action card or spend one command token from their command sheet to gain 2 trade goods. You may draw one action card, and this is their Valfar one. After you gain a tech, you may draw one action card. Who else did they show? They show Latani Asfa, which basically gives you the ability to better the Arborek at the very beginning of the game. This gives you the ability to reinforce the lack of ships that you have at the very beginning with like another carrier if you need it or whatever. Let's see here. Do they show any more? Exhaust this card to ready any planet. If that planet is in a system that is adjacent to a planet you control, you may remove one infantry from that planet and return it to its reinforcements. This card has the text ability of each other player's agent, even if that agent is exhausted. So the Yssaril is having like another cunning faction ability where they basically are all the other agents combined. Alright, so in this part right here, they show off some more of the pieces of planets and everything.
I believe new red and blue back tiles that includes hyperlanes.
Archon Veil.
Yeah, hold up, I'll show people.
They have the hyperlanes,
and that includes, of course,
which is
everybody's
great.
favorite, the Wormhole.
The perimeter.
Nexus.
I like that planet. I hope it's in a lot of games.
Yeah, they're used to kind of do.
And then this is the Alpha, Beta, Gamma wormhole for the planet Malice 03.
7 and 8 player. I hear they're one of these places where they're here is adjacent.
So they were the original creators of the Hyperlane, and they have finally added it to their board pieces. And a lot of these board pieces aren't the actual size of the board pieces that will be later on coming out, but it's pretty great to see that all these are all like first edition of the expansion, basically like a factory first edition. Later on they'll have all the pieces being matched in the same like size comparison as the other pieces, because the planet cards look a little bit flimsy.
Allow you to refresh plans.
Diplomacy is added into the game, the Omega as a just normal.
The construction one, don't get super excited. It's just a wording change.
Construction is wording change, as he says.
But I wanted to make sure they all.
This is the Birds' home planet. They have 3, which kind of makes it hard, I guess, but also now it's not the only home planet with 3, like the Hakan. Mirage is a planet tile that can be found in exploration.
It's like a supernova even. We've had Mirage pop up in a supernova. We've had Mirage pop up in the Creus Gate. That's always fun.
So what he's saying there is that Mirage can pop up anywhere. And Mirage is a legendary planet. You may exhaust this card at the end of your turn to place up to 2 fighters from your reinforcements in any system that contains 1 or more of your ships. Here they show off the new magenta and orange pieces of mechs. The mechs will be coming for every single color, while the magenta and orange will be the only full sets from what they said. And here's where they get to show off a little bit of their mechs.
Use the Starforge faction ability in a system or an adjacent system. You may place 1 infantry from your reinforcements with this unit. Deploy a CS Thunderbolt with orbital drop for 1 extra resource, which is pretty cool. Barony mech. Yeah, I'll go find that one.
The soul was
Right,
you get a new mech with orbital drop if you spend 3 instead of 2. When you use your indoctrination faction ability, you may spend 1 additional influence to replace your opponent's unit with 1 mech instead of 1 infantry, which is insane. Indoctrinate your own mechs. Alright, so this one is the Exploring Factions mech, which is pretty cool. It ties in with their flagship. If this unit is in the space area of the active system at the start of space combat, flip this card, so you can fight in both space and ground. It hits on an 8 in space, 6 on the ground, 2 on an 8, and then 2 on a 6 on the ground. This baronies at the start of a round of ground combat, you may spend 2 resources to replace 1 of your infantry in that combat with 1 mech. Winners, after you resolve tactical action, you may place 1 PDS in space stock, 1 PDS or space stock from your reinforcements on that planet. And these are the new exploration cards as they show them off. The industrial, hazardous, and cultural cards. And then the last gray one, black and white, gray, whichever one, is the frontier deck. Here we see the industrial exploration. Nothing really bad can happen from these, is what they said. But industrial or hazardous, you have to spend something to get that one.
So, the Stellar Converter.
Oh, and this is the relic deck that they're showing off.
Action. Choose 1 non-home, non-legendary planet other than Mechatol Rex in a system that is adjacent to 1 or more of your units that have bombardment. Destroy all units on that planet and purge its attachments and its planet card. Then place a destroyed planet.
So you
token
can't
on that
destroy a
planet
home
and purge its
system.
card. So yeah, one of the
Mechatol Rex.
one of the things that you can build out of the relic deck.
You get a Death Star.
This is a Death Star.
So yeah, the Death Star. You get to basically destroy a planet. Woo! Oh my goodness. Alright, what else? They show off a little bit of the frontier deck.
To clear Mirage. Place a Mirage planet token in the system. Gain the Mirage planet card and radiant.
So the Mirage is
Then purge
found
this card.
during
So
the
here's-
frontier deck.
Yeah, Dark Energy tap.
This is
Yeah,
one of
Dark
the new
Energy tap
techs.
Also, in addition to letting you explore frontier tokens, it lets you retreat into some additional systems. So it kind of improves the kind of unknown relic storm token. So side face up, and then place this card in the common play area.
Nice. Fragments.
You can trade fragment.
Action.
20 new action cards here. This diplomatic pressure. When this agenda is revealed, or when an agenda is revealed, choose another player. That player must give you one promissory note from their hand. And there are actually 4 copies of this.
4 copies of that, which means you can get up to 4 promissory notes from people if you read a sorrow and luck out.
After you activate a system during the movement step of this tactical action, ignore the effects of anomalies. So you can use that to move into or through a supernova or asteroid field without the tech, or divert funding. Return a non-unit upgrade, non-faction technology that you own to your tech deck, then research another technology. That lets you do start with.
This isn't even like...
I like this one. Elect player. The elected player gains this card and 1 victory point. The elected player cannot play action cards. If the owner of this card loses this card, they lose 1 victory point. So if it gets repealed, they don't get to keep it.
Excellent.
Yep.
So that's damaging to your sorrow. Agenda that.
Objectives.
Yeah.
New objectives.
No tech.
I don't think they show off too many of them. They show off some of those secret.
Well, can be a tough one to pull. Shouldn't be too hard, actually. Control a planet in a system that contains a planet controlled by another player. So that's the time to do it.
Maybe.
Have units in the Wormhole nexus.
So Wormhole nexus is double-sided. One side has only a gamma wormhole on it, and the other side has alpha, beta, and gamma. So players of TI3 may remember the alpha, beta wormhole in the Wormhole nexus prior to this sits off the board, kind of like the Create Home system. In order to get to the Wormhole nexus in TI4, you actually have to find a gamma wormhole via exploration before you can go there for the first time.
So exploration.
So once you go through and units
is
enter
insane,
Wormhole nexus, it flips.
and it's worth it.
A question for that's pretty much what I expected.
How?
I'm sure you were very sad.
I wasn't sad, but
Technology.
if you are not the pink player or whatever color player, you must place it face up in your play area. While this card is in your play area, you can use the...
This is one of the new promissory notes, which allows you to use commander abilities.
Two of your relic fragments of the same type to gain 1 relic. So this just allows them
This
to
is the
lend their fabrication
monkey
factionality
or
to
panther,
players.
jaguar,
So you
monkey.
get more relics. I've seen some pretty pricey sells of this card.
Which was a pricey one.
Action ability. So Dark Pact. Action, place this card in your play area. When you give a number of commodities to the Empyrean player equal to your maximum commodity value, you each gain 1 trade good. So basically, this allows you to turn the Imperium player into a super trading partner, and as well place this card, and then the Blood Pact.
This is their other promissory
Place
note.
this card face up in your play area. When you and the Imperium player cast votes for the same outcome, cast 4 additional votes for that outcome.
So yeah, this one plus the bird faction. So if you and the Empyrean team up, you have this as the birds. You're casting 4 extra, including 1 extra for each of you if you both vote for the same thing, which I think that would be an insane combo.
After Aether Strike.
The Empyrean's faction tech right here.
This is an Empyrean faction tech. After you or one of your neighbors activates a system that is adjacent to an anomaly, you may apply +1 to the move value of all that player's ships during this tactical action. So they can boost move speed of other players' ships, which is moving. Yeah, this used to be a faction ability. We had to change that. After a player moves ships into a system that contains one or more of your units, they must give you one promissory note from their hand if able.
If able, meaning if they have a promissory note left, yes, they have to give you at least one. Which means that they possibly would have to give up support for the thrones if they didn't have all their other promissory notes, which is insane. Here's the explorations. At the start of the combat round, you may exhaust this card to apply +1 to the result of each of the units of your units' combat rolls during this combat round. Apply at the start of a combat round. Man, this is gonna be interesting that it's a red-green faction. After you explore a planet, ready that planet. Because this is their other faction tech. I don't know how this is going to fully change the game. Yeah, and lastly, they just get on to the amount of the game and different things on, like, if a group of people bought the game and wanted to leave out a few things, they could, but ultimately he recommends leaving it all in and playing with all of it. Also, he did recommend playing in 14-point games with these factions, because that might be a little bit better. Lastly, on the box, you can see pretty much I don't think it shows anything else. It shows off like some of the other factions that we didn't see yet. The Nomad, which is in the middle bottom, with the cloak on, which is insane that his entire faction is going to be one dude from the podcast. That's what I've narrowed down. It's one dude just, against the world, against every other faction. It's insane. And then the kaiju back there is coming through a dimensional slice. He's literally coming from a different dimension, possibly. And there was two more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, two more. The Titans and someone else. One last unit. But it's $99.95. I'm already pre-ordered, whatever that means. I don't know, because I've never really pre-ordered anything. But yeah, can't wait for this expansion.
Document that will be released shortly has a number of revised promissory notes.
Dane, you lie. You lie. I cannot find the Codex. He's talking about the Codex for Twilight Imperium that they're going to be releasing. I don't know where they released it to, but he said it would be released shortly. I need to Google search it and see if it's actually out yet.
It's in Faction Tech as well, so please check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Including Steiny, since I know that I've seen people asking for that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. This has been an amazing stream, just going through some of what is in Prophecy of Kings. This box is coming out this fall. This November is when it is projected for release. And it just has tons and tons of stuff on it.
Comes out in
so
November.
Much more information coming out with the SCPT podcast that you were part of, and with future articles and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I just realized I looked at the camera the entire time.
That's okay.
It's hunched over.
Well, thank you, Dane,
It's your natural
for
state.
the Codex stuff. I didn't know that this was already out.
So much for watching. We're continuing our Gen Con coverage, so there's going to be more live streams tomorrow.
Alright, so they actually did come out with a Codex, and I just am dumb and couldn't find it. Oh my gosh. Redacted? redacted. Ah! Okay, so we got the Codex of Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. This is an update to everything. Some new introduction. Welcome to the Codex. Please use this table to jump quickly to any section. Forward, flight, rules updates. Okay. These are rules updates. Hypermetabolism. Left the biotech technology with incorrect text. Instead, during the status phase, gain 3 command tokens instead of 2. Must have been just some wording thing. I don't really see. What in the world? Oh, space cats. They got their mention. So that's cool. Prophecy of Kings, the Fractured Void. Oh, the book. That's insane. I'm at the very last page. Really? They put the rules at the very last? Okay. I'm just going to scroll down. Oh! Forward to the developer. Yeah! Aye. Flight. This is more lore. Omega Initiative. So we got these two recently. Faction text. Omega. Yen Spinner. Magnus Reactor. Alright, so Ghost Wormhole Generator. Exhaust this card to place or move a Curious Wormhole token into either a system that contains a planet you control or a non-home system that does not contain another player's ships. Okay, they redid the wording. Yen Spinner. After you produce units, place up to 2 infantry from your reinforcements on any planet you control or in any space area that contains one or more of your ships. And then Magnus Reactor Omega. Your ships can move into supernovas. Each supernova that contains one or more of your units gains the production 5 ability, as if it were one of your units. Okay. And then these 2 Omegas have been out for a while, so I'm not really going to go over that. Promissory notes Omega. Okay. I'm not really going to fully go over it. I don't think there was much more than wording adjustments. Oh. That contains entirely new components. As we experiment with many concepts. This section provides an opportunity for some of those buried ideas as well as new ideas to see the light of day so that players may use them in their games. They are combined with existing components from the base game and Prophecy of Kings. Oh. So they released some unreleased action cards. Which you can pause the video. I'm gonna go back up. You can pause the video for this and the promissory notes that were changed. That is interesting. Oh wait, I need to stay on this for a little bit so you can get a good pause. Whoa. 4 war machines. That's insane. Setup, assign factions. Each player chooses from the is a regular feature that contains unique scenarios and game variants. Okay. So this is like I guess if you haven't played a game yet, and this is wait, there's a nebula in the center. Where's Rex? I'm confused. Gather components. Okay, so these are just some game variants that they've thrown in that are going to completely mess with everything I know about the game. So I'm just gonna leave that for now. I'll probably do a video on it later. And then they have the book and the expansion at the very end. And then they have a codex for all the new cards that you can possibly print off and basically just glue to pieces of paper and be fine. This is the new Majin and X989 hybrid metabolism. New backs for all the text. New action cards and the faction promissory notes. And then okay, these two are new. Let me just go over those two and then I'll be done. The Necro virus has 2 new texts. I don't know. Other players cannot move ships through systems that contain your structures. Okay, so they can't move through systems that contain your PDS or your space dock. Each planet that contains one or more of your structures gains the production of 1 ability as if it were a unit. Okay, cool. When this unit uses anti-fighter barrage, each result of 9 or 10 also destroys one of your opponent's infantry in the space area of the active system. Okay. Well, besides the fact that that's insane, that's insane. Yeah, so this is all new stuff. I might print this off and use it in real game. Huh. Interesting. Alright, well, that is all for today's video. This is the expansion. Can't wait for it to come out. Can't wait for new information that I will be live streaming. And can't wait to live stream more with my new computer now that I have everything set up and ready to go. I'll catch you guys later.